Okay, got a few more people arrived. Hi, Audrey. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Liz. Welcome to the webinar. Oh, people are arriving now. And hi, Joe. Nice to see you, Joe. Well, I can't see you, but nice to have you here. If you just arrived, just so that you perhaps not used the this software before, you can communicate with us through the little box on your right where it says chat. You can type in the bottom there and click send, and I can see what you're saying. We're going to have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation, so that we can use this. Then any questions that you want to ask, you can ask now or save it to the end. We'll get to them at the end. Hi, Dorothy. We got anybody from America online yet? The US of A? I know we've got some Kiwis. I believe we have somebody from Malaysia. Audrey, you're from Malaysia, aren't you? Singapore, close. But not the same thing. Australia, go Australia. Nice to have you on board. Liz from Australia. The wonders of the interweb. We can talking to each other from all over the planet. Okay, so I'm making it 3 minutes past 7 now. So in respect for you guys that have shown up on time, I'm gonna get started. And the others, anybody else that come along, they'll have to catch up. So welcome to the webinar. This is our first webinar. We've done seminars on this subject. We did the last one we did was a live one in a place called Waipu in the North Island, north of Auckland, and we did that seminar, and it was so exhausting. We realized that there's no way that we were going to be able to do that all the way. Take this information to everybody that might be interested in hearing about it all over the world. We would probably kill ourselves in the process. So we've decided to use some modern technology and do it virtually. So not quite the same as looking at your smiling faces. But at least the message can go all around the world with relatively little effort. So let's start the presentation. Let's see if this... Okay. Can everybody see? Well, let me ask, is anybody that can't see that presentation window introducing the QSB? If you don't say anything, I'll assume that you can. Silence, that's good. All right. So I suspect that most of you know who I am, but just in case you don't, my name is David Slinger. I'm one of the directors of Life Energy Designs, along with Margie. Together we design and create energetic products, and I have used my knowledge and my intuition to create the QSB, which we're talking about today. So Life Energy Designs, just in case there's anybody here that doesn't know what we're about, we make devices that protect against electromagnetic pollution. They balance personal energy and the energy of spaces. They promote healing. They use Wilhelm Reich's technology in combination with crystals. So what are we talking about tonight? Well, we're going to provide some context for the QSB by talking about who we are as beings, what ails us, why we get sick, what can help us to heal. We're going to talk about vibrational medicine, the new field of vibrational medicine, and then we're going to segue from that into the QSB, which fits very neatly into this category. We're going to talk about some of the results that we've been getting from people that have used the QSB, and we're going to also share some feedback that we've received. And we've got some space at the end for some questions. So if you have any questions, if you just save them up to the end, and we'll deal with all those at the end, so you don't interrupt my flow. Okay, context. Just to provide some basic understanding of where the QSB fits in, what it's all about. So if we look at who we are, is this who we are? Are we basically a lump of meat? Well, we've got this wonderful medical system that basically treats us like this, and that limits their interactions with us medically to cutting, poisoning, and burning. So that's one view of who we are. Or are we these amazing energetic beings that are connected to source, connected to the earth, and connected to each other? Now, if you think that we're like that, you might find some of what I've got to say a little bit confronting. But if you can just be a little bit, at very least, open-minded to the idea that we're energetic systems, then this will make a lot more sense to you. So there are three ingredients to life. This is whether you're listening to the quantum physicists or the metaphysicians. That's a hard word to say. They all come to the same page basically, and that there are three basic ingredients to life and everything that's manifested in the universe. You have consciousness, and that consciousness expresses itself through energy with the information of frequency to create everything that we perceive. So that is the very fundamentals of what everything is about. So moving on from that, if we can look at what ails us, probably the simplest way to approach this subject, the simplest context is through stress. Everybody can relate to stress. We've all got stress in our lives. It comes in lots of different flavors. There's the mental and the emotional flavors of money worries. Everybody has this at some time or other. There never seems to be enough of this stuff to go around. Family, I don't know why, but that seems to get worse around Christmas and the holidays. Relationships, that's always a big one. Work, well, I'm working now, and I tell you, I'm stressed. You're getting to know how to use this new technology and speaking to all you people all over the world. World events, I don't know if anybody noticed, but things are getting a little bit crazy on planet Earth. But there's a simple solution to this one. A little tip here. If you turn off your television and don't read the newspapers, this stress is a lot reduced. Then you've got stresses from the environment. You've got toxins in the air that we're breathing, toxins in the water, and that gets into our food, and then our food is over treated with chemicals, and the soil gets depleted, and we get our food gets depleted in nutrition. We're dealing with that. That causes us stress. And then we've got EMF, electromagnetic fields. Now, I'm guessing that most people know what that's about, but it's a major. I've done seminars on this subject alone. And basically, we're just part of a grand experiment with guinea pigs in this grand experiment. They're exposing us to about 100 million times more radiation than our grandparents ever experienced. and then just watching to see what happened to us. And I tell you what is happening to us is we're falling over. So that is an incredible stress on the system. And then welcome to planet Earth. There's all the stuff that you get with just the joys of being on the planet. The stuff that gets gifted, trauma. Well, I doubt there is anybody listening to me now that hasn't been traumatized at least once in their lives. A lot of people get traumatized by the very act of being born. And unless you were brought up by the fairies in the forest, you've picked up some mental, emotional, and physical traumas along the way. And we carry those with us in our energetic systems. And that stress is what manifests as a lot of our physical conditions. And then we have the contradictions to known truth. Now, this is a big one. And I just, as I say this, there's just a little test to see, just watch yourself as I speak these words and see how your inner dialogue goes and how you feel. You, me, and us, we are all divine, energetic beings here to co-create alongside our Creator. Now, that to me is the truth, and I understand that we all inherently know that truth, but this world does not reinforce that truth. In fact, it contradicts us. If it's down to the auntie that says to us when we're 5 years old, between the ages of 0 and 7, we're completely open books. We've got no filter mechanism, no filter system whatsoever. So if somebody says to us, "Oh, you'll never amount to anything," or "You're not very pretty," or "You're not very intelligent," that gets taken on board, and it's a contradiction to our known truth. Inherently, we understand that we are these divine, magnificent beings, and then we've got this piece of information. Well, you're not very pretty. You're not very smart. And if we go to the church, the priest will say to us, "Oh, you're a sinner." All these things are in contradiction to that inherent truth, which we all know. So, and that sets up a stress, and that stress can manifest in, as disease. And if that wasn't enough, scientists have now discovered that we can inherit stress from our great-great-grandparents and down. So four generations. And it comes down to us gifted through our DNA. That we've all got people in our ancestors have all been in wars. There's at least two world wars there. The trauma from that is we're more than certainly carrying in our DNA today. So I'm going to throw out a little analogy here, talking about the root of disease. What if life is a garden? And it's our job to make this as beautiful a garden as possible with lots of fragrant and beautiful flowers. And the soil to this garden, if we say there's 3 layers to it, there's the mental, emotional, and spiritual. And this is where these stresses, these traumas, these contradictions, these are where they get buried, that's where they get seeded. So we've all got these seeds in these layers. And unless we do something about them, they will manifest in our garden as weeds. And those weeds can represent mental, emotional, or physical disease. And they're obviously destroying the perfection of our garden. So what can we do to help us heal? Well, if we go back to the 3 ingredients of life, there've got to be the 3 ingredients of healing. All these ingredients need to be there for any healing to happen. So the consciousness needs to be there. Your consciousness needs to be part of the equation. You have to be conscious and with your intent that healing, you want the healing to happen. And there needs to be some energy there. That can be your energy, can be the energy of of a healer, can be the energy of a plant, can be the energy from a transformed from electricity, which we're going to talk about. And frequency needs to be there. Frequency is the information. It is the language of the universe. So frequency is what we use in conjunction with the energy to help us to rid our stuff and to heal. So how do we introduce frequencies? Well, there's herbs. There's something that's been happening for millennia. People have understood that plants have an inherent vibration. In fact, everything, animal, mineral, vegetable, everything has its own inherent vibration. And obviously by design, some of those vibrations are very useful in helping us to rid ourselves of our issues and to heal. So herbs often can introduce frequencies. Minerals, and talking about minerals, I'm talking about crystals as one thing. Crystals will vibrate their own inherent frequency, so we can have those on our body or near our body, and those frequencies then become a resource for our own innate healing mechanism to use in order to heal. We've got homeopathy, which is kind of like herbs without the chemical component. Just with all the chemical components stripped out, so you've just got the innate frequencies of the herbs to contain within a pill or a liquid, and then you've got charged liquids. You can put frequencies into water and oils and ingest them that way. That's something that you can do with the QSB. In fact, people have been experimenting doing that with the QSB. And then you've got energetic healings. That's using another person to transfer the energy of the universe, universal energy, and that comes packaged with those frequencies. There has the intelligence and the frequencies contained within it. So you're getting the energy transferred through the healer into your body, with that information, with those frequencies to help you to heal. So vibrational medicine, I'm talking about physics. So basically devices that are coming online in a big way, that taking electricity and transforming it into a different form of energy, which that the body can use, frequencies that the body can use. So one thing you can obviously do is to create light. There's color therapy, using all the different colors of the rainbow projected onto the body. You can pulse the body directly with electricity. Not a good idea to use mains for that. Good idea to use lower voltage. But I'm sure you've all come across the devices where you've got like wrist straps or ankle straps, or and those send the frequencies directly into your body. You can use sound. Sound obviously is electricity turned into the movement of air through a speaker. We've got musical therapy. The air, vibrating air directly interacts with the body, and that can initiate healing or help with healing. And then this is where the QSB fits in. You've got scalar energy. Scalar energy is also basically life energy, 0 point chi prana. It's the fundamental stuff of life, and this is where the QSB fits in, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in a moment. So enter the QSB. What is the QSB all about? Well, it's Tesla-inspired technology. It works as a de-stress tool. It de-stresses the mind, body, and spirit very effectively. It's a self-healing tool, and I use the word self-healing there because all healing is self-healing. We are the ones that heal ourselves, and we can use tools, and we We can employ other people to help us on that journey, but we're the ones ultimately that do the healing. And the QSB is a very powerful ally in that process. And it works as a group healing tool. The design of the QSB is that it has coils all the way around 360. So if you put it in the middle of the room, it is vibrating out in all directions. So you can put a group of people and have a group session with it. And that's something that we've done quite regularly. So it introduces scalar frequencies. Those frequencies being delivered through the medium of scalar waves, which is primal energy. It's the fundamental stuff of the universe. So there's no part of us that exists outside of this matrix. So there's no part of us that the QSB is not affecting. It delivers the Solfeggio frequencies. We're going to talk about those Solfeggio frequencies in a moment. I suspect that most of you know a little bit about them. These frequencies are built into the QSB, and that as soon as you switch it on, they start to play in sequence. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So those are built in, and they are available from the get-go, from plugging in. And that strongly affects the mental, emotional, and the spiritual levels, as well as the physical, which I've talked about. So back to that analogy of the garden, what the QSB does is it's shaking the soil. It's shaking the soil so the weeds can be pulled out. So I've got another analogy coming here. Analogy of a massage. If we got stress in our muscles, and we know a good massage therapist, they can get their fingers in and start kneading away and get rid of some of that stress from our body. But what if we could take that a step further? What if we could get beyond the physical and massage the mental, the emotional, and spiritual as well? Spiritual. But when I use the word spiritual, I'm talking about stuff that we brought with us from somewhere else, and we will take on with us from beyond this life. Whether if that's in your belief system, but that's what I'm talking about. So using Tesla's scalar waves gives us access to be able to massage all those different layers at once. Done something strange here. Okay. Scalar waves. Tesla discovered them, or rediscovered them. They were discovered previously by a scientist by the name of Maxwell, and that's why they sometimes get called Maxwellian waves. They are longitudinal in nature. The normal or electromagnetic fields, or magnetic and electrical fields, they travel up and down or side to side, but scalar waves are longitudinal, and they're going backwards and forwards. And they have this peculiar property that they actually travel faster than light. They will pass through anything, including a Faraday cage. Some people might not know what a Faraday cage is. A Faraday cage is basically a metal box that is grounded, and that will block out all radio waves. So if you go into one of these things with your transistor radio, you ain't going to hear anything because it will block it out. But if there's a QSB outside, you're going to be getting the scalar waves from that QSB inside regardless. And they're vibrations of the 0-point field. They, as I said, they are primal vibrations. The 0-point field used to be called the ether. It's kind of, the premise is it's an energetic soup that contains everything. So it's vibrating that. So there's no getting away from it. And it's, as I said, it's a primal wave. So what the QSB is it's a frequency generator. It's got those, as I said, it's got those Solfeggio frequencies built into the electronics. Those frequencies then go into an amplifier that increases the amplitude of those waves, and then those waves then get delivered into special coils. We've designed these coils to that when they're excited with electricity, take those frequencies out as scalar waves into the space. Now, the frequencies that we use built in are the Solfeggio frequencies. The Solfeggio frequencies are an ancient musical scale. They've got proven healing effects. They were known to and buried by the Vatican. It was Pope Gregory that had the wisdom to hide these things away from the likes of you and me, because he thought that they were too powerful for us. So bless him, he hid them away in the Vatican vaults. But these things were intended to be out there for us to use, and they came back to us through. I'll tell you a little bit about it in a minute. But they're used in chants, Gregorian chants, and music. The song to John the Baptist contains those frequencies embedded within it, and they were rediscovered by an Italian by the name of Joseph Paleo. He discovered them encoded within the Bible. And Paleo, by the way, has got nothing to do with that diet of the similar name. But yes, he discovered them so that they had their renaissance. I can't remember exactly when it was. Within the last 20 years or so, they come back out of the darkness and out to the availability of people like you and I. Bless him. Bless Joseph Paleo. So the scale of the Solfeggio frequencies is divided up between one frequency steps up to the next with a division of 1, 1, 1. Now this uses the Pythagorean mathematical system, and that means that when you get to 9 and you add 1 to it, it doesn't go to 0, it goes to 1. So if you look at these numbers on the screen there, 174. If you add 111 to it, it goes up to 285, 111, 396, and so on. Now, generally the healing scale, the healing properties are associated from 396 up to 852. Those are the frequencies that are most used for healing. And if those of you who are familiar with the chakra system, the Indian chakra system, will be able to see a direct correlation between these frequencies, the colors, and the chakra and the body parts that they represent. So 396 is the frequency of liberating guilt and fear, and it has associations with the adrenals, the base of the spine, legs, feet, bones, teeth, large intestines, prostate, bladder, blood circulation, and elimination system. Stepping up to the next frequency, 417, is about resolving past traumas and facilitating change. It's basically to do with the reproductive systems, the kidneys, and the prostate. Stepping up to 528, the frequency Me, is about transformation and miracles. Now, this frequency has actually been used to repair DNA in a petri dish. And it's associated with the pancreas, digestion, liver, gallbladder, stomach, nervous system, and the muscles. Up again to another 111, we're into 639. It's about connecting and relationships. And physically, it's associated with the thymus, heart, lungs, breast, immune system, circulatory system, and respiratory system. Up again to 741, it's about expression and communication. We're up around the level of the throat, where you've got the thyroid, the parathyroid, the throat, as I said, the esophagus, the larynx, the neck and shoulders, and the auditory system. And then La is the frequency of 852 hertz. It's about awakening your intuition, and it's to do with the pituitary, and the pineal glands, the brain, the hypothalamus, the nose, eyes, and the nervous system. So those are the main frequencies associated with healing. But the QSB also has 963, which is the next logical frequency up on the scale, and that is about awakening the original perfect state. And for those of you who meditate, this frequency can help bring about a space of real bliss, a place of real bliss. So it's a very nice frequency to meditate to. So that's what the QSB is doing, and that's what it's transmitting. And what are the results? What are we getting when we do that? Well, we've done some testing. This was actually one of the prototypes that we tested with something called HemoView. If you haven't come across HemoView before, it is basically just a high-powered microscope, and it's used to look at live blood. So it's live blood analysis, and this is an oversimple. You can get lots of information from your blood, but talking about stress manifests in your blood by what they call roulade, or the clumping together of all the cells. So if you look at the picture on the screen, you see that all the cells are clumped together. That is showing stress. So what we did is we took I think we had 11 people. We took before and after blood. They had half an hour treatment with the QSB, with the Solfeggio frequencies, and these are the results. So this was a 67-year-old female. You can see how stressed the blood was to start with. After half an hour, you can see how individuated individuated they are. And of course, as the individuated blood cells are going to travel around your body a lot easier, a lot quicker, and do the work that they need to do, like transporting oxygen around your body. This was a 16-year-old male. He was probably had one of the worst blood stress of everybody, but his results were exactly the same. Individuated blood again after just half an hour. A male, a 50-year-old male, not quite so stressed to start with, but look, still the same difference. All the blood cells individuated. And 51-year-old female, very serious stress showing in the blood there, and again gone in half an hour. So back to our analogy of the garden. What the QSB is doing is it's vibrating the soil. In this analogy, it's vibrating the soil. And if the soil is vibrated and is loosened, then we can go about the business of removing the weeds. And as I said before, it's all healing is self-healing. It's us that have to actually get and remove the weeds. But with that soil shaken up, that process becomes a lot simpler. So we've had some great results with healing of animals. Animals get traumatized just like we do. But what seems to be with animals is they don't hold on to their stuff quite as rigidly as we do. We kind of own our traumas and stresses, and we kind of incorporate them into our being, into our personalities. Animals seem to be a little bit simpler in that respect, and we've had some amazing feedback for animals that have been treated. We've got a wholesale customer of ours in Australia. She's an animal communicator. She has her own way to communicate with animals. She was working with a Cocker Spaniel for a couple of weeks, and that was obviously in quite a state. It was biting everybody, completely out of control. And she got him to the point where it stopped biting everybody, but was still very agitated and barking at everybody. She gave him 3 sessions with the QSB, and now they have a placid and even-tempered dog. She was blown away by that. And then there's Brian in Hastings. He is a wholesale customer of ours. He has he has a clinic. He has an acupuncture clinic, and he's been using the QSB with his clients. But he fed back the results of playing it with his cats. And he had one cat that was grooming to the point where it was licking all his fur out, so he was going bald. And just played the QSB. They discovered they were very attracted to the energy of the QSB, and they moved close to it, and all that behavior has stopped. Human healing. We're starting to get some amazing feedback, and it's happening on all levels. We've got Jenny in Wanaka on the South Island. She fell down the stairs. She's a lady in her 70s. She fell down the stairs, sprained her ankle. She had a QSB, and she had the wherewithal and the consciousness to start using it straight away. And she said her ankle was healed in two days. So obviously she was impressed by that. So it can have a very physical effect, very fast physical effect. And what happened there, I would say, was that the energetic component of that energy was healed, and there was nothing left, for the physical injury to sort of to continue manifesting. Loving the QSB posted you from recently. So this lady has had insomnia for 5 years and a digestive issue, and I would suspect that the digestive issue was the root of the insomnia. For her, the result was instant. They both went away at the same time. So obviously it was something that she was ready to get rid of, and just that little bit of a push with the QSB technology was all that needed for it to move on. And then we have Sheila in America. She she's got type 2 diabetes, and so as a diabetic, she's obviously got to monitor her blood sugar on glucose levels on a daily basis, and her need for insulin has gone down dramatically. So effectively, she's using the QSB to help heal her of type 2 diabetes. So all these things are possible. So just to summarize where we've been, what we've said, we've talked about who we are in terms of an energetic system. We've discussed why we get sick. We've talked about what can help us to heal. We've introduced the subject of vibrational medicine, which segued into talking about the QSB. We've shared some results and some feedback. And now at this stage, I can give you an offer. Obviously, we're using these webinars to promote the QSB one, and we've got a special price offer on the QSB. You can read about it there on your side panel. What will happen is when this webinar is over, the page will default to this offer page. So if you just stay on the page, it will take you there, or you can click on that link and it will take you across, and you can see what it contains. Basically, it's 30% off the normal retail price, and there's an upgrade pack that goes with the QSB, which enables it to be connected to a smartphone or a tablet, and you have the cables and the cable that you need in the instructions. And also with that upgrade kit, you will have access to future paid webinars that we will be having. You'll be able to access those for no extra extra charge. You will also have access to our newsletter about the QSB and a forum that people that are using this forum to share their experiences, ask questions. You'll have access to that. So that's all part of the upgrade pack. We normally sell those at $199. As part of this offer, we will be including that free of charge. So that's available from that link there. And this technology, this offer rather, the QSB is fully guaranteed for 30 days. If for any reason you feel that it's not doing what you wanted to do, it's not giving you the benefits you expected, we will take them back. That is the same with all of our products. Okay, that is basically what I have to say. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention, we also have another offer. It's just as a thank you for coming on this webinar. There's a 15% discount code which you can use on any of our products. You can't use it in conjunction with the offer with the QSB, but you can use it on any of our other products. If you use the code webinar15 in the discount code box on our website, that will get you 15% off. Okay, that's all I have to say, other than to throw it open to you guys to ask some questions. So I'm looking at the chat box now. So anybody has any questions? I'm paying attention. It'll be first come, first served. As long as you ask a question that I can answer. Keeping it on all night. Okay. Yeah, this is something that initially we were pretty conservative with what we said about running the QSB will run for 70 minutes and then recycle. We'll go back to the beginning. So it starts at 396 and then goes up through the frequencies and then 7 frequencies and then restarts back again at 396. It does heat up the coils, and we thought that may be a bit of a problem in warm climate. So we suggested that maybe you didn't want to run it for more than 1 or 2 times. But I have been using mine all night, and in the morning it's fine. It's not getting overly hot there. So what I would suggest that you do is not to worry about the QSB overheating, obviously, but to use an electrical timer and maybe build up and see how you get on. I've been using the QSB for a long time, and I'm perhaps a bit more acclimatized to the energy and more able to cope with it running all night. That may be too much for somebody just starting out with it. Adam, what reactions are you noticing in people? Well, I see we're getting lots of different feedback. I mean, the thing is, the differences in people, as many differences there are as there are different responses to the QSB. But generally, what we're getting back is that people are finding it very relaxing, very de-stressing. People are enjoying being in the energy of it. We're getting those healing results, which are very, very exciting. We're getting lots of feedback about insomnia. People are using it for insomnia and getting some great results. Either using it on a timer for once or twice around and then switching off, or like I've been doing. I've hurt my back. I've got a slip disc, and I'm running it all night, and it really is helping me to sleep and also to deal with the pain. Audrey, what's the difference between QSB and the pendants? Okay, the pendants do have the Solfeggio frequencies vibrating in the crystals in them, but it's a very, very gentle. The QSB is more. It's much more intense. It's much more powerful. So that's the main difference. It has the potential to shift things a lot quicker, whilst the having the frequencies available in the pendant around your neck is a fairly gentle and slow process. Is the QSB just as effective as an earthing sheet? Well, totally different technology, totally different. An earthing sheet has some benefits to connecting you to the earth and helping you deal with electromagnetic pollutions. Earthing is a good thing to do. Walking barefoot on the beach or in the garden will earth you. There are some earthing products that connect to the earth wire on your plug, and depending on your house, the way your house is wired, can cause some problems. That's one note of caution with those earthing products. But basically, the principles behind earthing are great. But the QSB is not about EMF. I'm getting tired now. EMF protection. It's nothing to do with EMF protection. It's about facilitating your body with healing frequencies and de-stressing frequencies. Does it help with things like with eyesight? Well, we cannot make any medical claims whatsoever. And as I said, all healing is self-healing. So it can be used it can be used to help facilitate the healing of anything. And I mean absolutely anything, because everything I would say is incurable. And by incurable, it means curable from within. And the QSB is a powerful ally in that. So there is nothing I would say that can't be healed. And the QSB has the potential to help in anybody's healing journey. Okay, hi from Italy. Can a QSB charge crystals, putting them nearby? To some extent, yes. We use a variation of the QSB to charge crystals, to charge our products. We haven't used the QSB on its own, but yes, I would imagine that some frequencies would be embedded into the crystals as a result of that. So, Mariangela, you joined a bit late. Do not worry. I'm recording this webinar, and you will be able to watch it again. I will be sending out information on the replay within the next week or so. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions. Anybody got anything else? Many thanks. Thank you very much. Anybody got any more questions or any comments? Thank you. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this webinar, our first webinar. Appreciate your appreciation. Thanks, Liz. Thank you, Adam. You have a good evening. Extend that to everybody. It's not evening for everybody. I know there's a few different time zones represented here. Thanks, David. I love my QSB. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for sharing that. Keep on using it. Thank you, Julie. Okay, I think we've obviously exhausted all the questions. So I'll sign off here. As I said, so thanks, Joe. Thanks, Dorothy. And Eileen from Australia, thank you. Appreciation. So if you stay, when I sign off, if you stay on the page, that offer will come up. If you didn't make a note of that that discount code, I'll put it in the chat box again, so you can see it there. And if you got any other questions, don't hesitate to get back to me. If you want to watch this again live, or if you want to share this with friends and family, want to have a live event like this one, we've got one on Sunday, 3:00 New Zealand time. You can work out where that is around the world. So that will be the second and final live event. But then we will make these available in recorded format, so that people can watch the recording. Great glass of wine. Oh yeah, that's Margie. She's expecting a glass of wine now. But she has. I don't think she's worked hard enough to earn one. We'll have to discuss that one. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again, and catch up with you soon. Bye now.
Nope, this one. Oh, this one.